Today, we're diving into a really provocative analysis of Spain's deep-rooted economic problems. But it's not just about the problems. It's about a highly controversial solution that zeroes in on one of the most strategic spots on the entire planet, the Strait of Gibraltar. Let's get right into it.
So, to really get a handle on Spain's current crisis, the analysis we're digging into today points to this one kind of cryptic phrase, the trio of the gold, the Moors, and the euro. This is supposedly the key to Spain's entire historical economic model, a model that's now apparently on the verge of collapse. So, what on earth does that actually mean?
Okay, here's the breakdown. The gold, that's the vast wealth that came from the Americas. The Moors, that represents the assets that were left behind by expelled populations. And finally, the euro, well, that's the modern era of massive subsidies from the European Union. The central argument here is that Spain's economy has for centuries been built on these big external windfalls, and the analysis claims that well has finally run dry.
Right, so that brings us to the core diagnosis of the problem, the exhausted economic model. Let's take a closer look at why this old way of doing things is just not working anymore and the massive systemic issues it's created.
The analysis comes up with this really powerful term for one of the biggest problems, bureaucracia. It's a clever play on words, mixing bureaucracy with burro, the Spanish word for donkey. It's used to describe this, suffocating administrative state, a so-called army of officials, that allegedly just crushes private enterprise and is a huge drag on the whole economy.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. You can see the impact in the real world. For example, in Andalusia, which is home to the Strait of Gibraltar, manufacturing productivity is lagging almost 15% behind the national average. The source argues this is a direct result of this stagnant system.
All of this broken model, this bureaucracy, it leads us right to the main focus of this whole analysis, the supremely strategic Strait of Gibraltar. This is the place where, the argument goes, Spain is actively losing its historic dominance.
Just so we're all on the same page about how important this is, think about this number, 20%. That is the chunk of all global trade that passes through this tiny little waterway. It is without a doubt one of the most critical maritime choke points on the entire globe.
And this sets the stage for what the analysis calls the Battle of the Strait. On one side, you've got Spain's port of Algeciras. It's efficient, sure, but it's starved of state investment and critical infrastructure. And on the other side, Morocco's Tandra Med, which is being supercharged by a massive, almost 17 billion euro state-led investment and all these aggressive tax incentives. It's a textbook battle between inertia and pure ambition.
And the scoreboard for that battle? Well, it shows a complete rout. In 2024, Tankers Med is on track to move more than double the container volume of Algeciras. The analysis calls this the sorpasso, the moment Morocco just blew past Spain right in its own backyard.
So you have to ask, why is Spain falling so far behind? Well, this one detail kind of says it all. The main rail line connecting one of Europe's biggest ports to the rest of the continent is a single, non-electrified track that was built in 1892. It's just a shocking symbol of decades and decades of neglect. But this isn't just about shipping containers and old train tracks. This kind of neglect has a deep, deep human cost. So let's look at the social price that the people in this region are paying for this abandonment.
The social cost really can be boiled down to one absolutely staggering figure, 60%. It's a number that points to a profound and honestly dangerous social crisis brewing in the region.
That's 60%. That is the youth unemployment rate in the Campo de Gibraltar area. With almost no real legitimate opportunities, you've got a whole generation just being left behind. And that creates a very dangerous vacuum. And when a state leaves a vacuum, something always rushes in to fill it. In this case, it's a phenomenon the source calls narco bienestar, or narco welfare. This isn't just about crime. It's about drug trafficking becoming a parallel economy, a structural part of life that provides the jobs, the money, and the social standing that the official state has completely failed to deliver. So, faced with this total paralysis, the analysis puts forward a really radical, and for many, a deeply controversial proposal for how to intervene. And this is where China makes its grand entrance into the story.
To understand the thinking here, you have to look at China's own playbook. To kickstart its economic miracle, it reportedly got rid of nearly 20 million bureaucratic jobs. It was an absolutely ruthless move, but it was all aimed at one thing: efficiency. It's the complete opposite of the bureaucracia we were just talking about.
And China has a proven model for this stuff. It's called the Piraeus model, named after the Greek port it famously took over. It's a simple three-step process. 1. Target a strategic port that's failing. 2. Take complete control of management to just bulldoze through any local bureaucracy. And 3. Plug that port directly into its massive global trade network. It's a clear, effective, and repeatable strategy. But, and this is a huge but, this kind of partnership would come with some very strict, non-negotiable conditions. We're talking full management control, no free money or subsidies, and total integration into China's strategic network. And maybe most crucially, a zero-tolerance policy for corruption. As the source puts it very bluntly, no se puede robar. You can't steal. Period. Which leads us to the ultimate million-dollar question that this analysis poses. Would handing over the keys to China be a form of salvation for this region, or would it be something else entirely? And if you think this is all just some wild, hypothetical idea, think again. The wheels are actually already turning. Back in 2018, the port of Algeciras signed a formal partnership with Ningbo, which just happens to be the third largest port in the entire world. The foundation for something much deeper has already been laid.
The analysis really boils it all down to this one hard truth. For Spain to have any chance of reviving these strategic assets, it has to wake up from what's called the hypnosis of subsidies and accept a partner who isn't offering handouts, but is demanding results and absolute control.
And that leaves us right here with this final provocative question. Is a real choice for Spain between sticking with its current, failing bureaucracy or trading away a piece of its economic sovereignty for a chance at a real revival? It's a tough choice, and there are no easy answers.